Peace and love, everybody. Thanks for being here. Hey, Wanda. I'll take a little breath here this morning before we begin. Peace. Thanks for being here live. In metaphysics, the silver cord is experienced in the context of out of body experiences. Maybe you've had one. The silver cord is like a life giving linkage, similar to an umbilical cord that connects our physical bodies to our astral bodies, providing vital energy and maintaining a bond between the two during energy body travels. It's a strong silver covered colored elastic cord of varying widths. In my experience, its width was as wide as my physical body or as narrow as a standard rope and more elastic than rubber bands. No matter how far I traveled in this world in sort of the s- astral space of this world or through these higher dimensions or higher heavens, the cord stretched. Sometimes when I left my body, there was a visible cord connecting me to my body. I could see it, I experienced it. In those circumstances and other circumstances, I was more like a free floating consciousness. Yet my soul somehow remained attached to my mortal body with some invisible way connected to my higher self. I've never gotten lost on these journeys. I always find my way directly back to my body when they end with no effort. I'm Peter Panagore, MDiv, a two-time near-death experiencer and ex-clergy, and this is not church. No Bravo Sierra, no doctrine, no dogma. Obviously, we're talking about astral projection here. And I've never intentionally astral projected like a lot of people have, but it's happened to me many times. I'd like you to recall William James's four marks of mystical experiences from his varieties of religious experience. You can find it in your library probably. And those four are transiency, passivity, noetic quality, and ineffability. And I want to thank Chris and Ken for the super chat. Super appreciated. You help keep this free broadcast broadcasting. But I want to, in particular, note passivity. These astral things that have happened to me, they happened to me. I didn't make them happen. Deep mystical experiences just happen to us. They suddenly come upon us when we're not prepared for them. They just happen. While intentional astral projection is possible, it's not something I've pursued. Over my lifetime, these experiences have spontaneously happened to me. If you've had spontaneous out of body experiences, either free floating or with the silver cord, let me know. I'm interested. Now, here's a list of what happened to me, and then we'll talk a little bit more in depth about the experience of it. So, 5 times my guardian angel or spirit guide has, and this is a strong word, forcefully taken me, come and taken me from myself. 5 times. And once I was invited and called out by a loving voice of Ganesh. Once I just fell out of my body. I was meditating in my bed and kind of fell into my mattress. And a few times I visited friends in vivid dreams or traveled over actually where I live now. And twice there was a spontaneous exit from my body. Once during Kriya Yoga, where I popped out of my up right up here, and another time once during orgasm where the same thing happened, and I traveled off into a higher heavenly dimension. In several of these experiences, as I've traveled, the silver cord kind of trailed out behind me, connecting me to my physical body. And in a few of these mystical events, including these vivid dreams, there was no cord. In those events, I was either my astral body or a consciousness made of sound, a celestial sound energy. Hey, thanks, Sylvester, for the super chat. I've never gotten lost in either case, either with the cord or without it. At the end of these events, I've always just popped back into my physical form with or without the cord. Now, sometimes in out of body experiences, there's a silver cord and sometimes not. So please let me know if you've experienced the silver cord or not experienced the silver cord in your out of body experiences. The more we talk about this in public, the more it will be in the public square and the less strange it will be to talk about it. Now, only one time, my cord was cut here. I'm going to get actual scissors. Only one time my cord was cut. And that was during my first near death experience. After this angelic intelligence of all power collected me against my will. I've talked about it 1,000 times in podcasts. And I experienced that. Here's the scissors again. I experienced that severing. My umbilical cord to my mortal body was cut. This severing is one of the major differences between my first near-death experience and all of my other out-of-body mystical experiences, where I was always connected to my body, whether the silver cord was visible or not. This time, snip. And all the other out-of-body experiences that I had, well, I always found my way back to this just the way it worked. But that time, I was disconnected. My connection to my body was ended, which ended my life 1.0. My out of body mystical experiences began when I was 5 years old, long before I read Ecclesiastes 12, 6 to 7. Ecclesiastes 12, 6 to 7, when I was in my 20s at divinity school, which reads this way: Remember your Creator before the silver cord is cut. That's when the golden bowl will be broken. The wheel will be broken at the well. The pitcher will be smashed in the spring. Not meaning springtime, meaning a brook. Remember your Creator before you return to the dust from which you came. That's when your spirit will return to God who gave it. Snip, return. Remember Creator before the silver cord is cut. That's what meditation's all about, remembering the Creator all the time. As often as the practice happens is when the Creator is remembered through the emptiness of self, the emptying of self, and the presence of the divine. Now, in my first NDE, as the beatific angel guide enveloped me, Creator energy fed me comfort, which was more than just mere memory. I wasn't just remembering the Creator. It was the eternal presence itself. It showed me itself. The veil of forgetfulness, it vanished instantly as I remembered my Creator and my original self as I experienced it. It was like running into a dear childhood friend in a crowd, suddenly seeing her face on the other side of the country and feeling that love that never ends for your friend when you hadn't thought of her in years and had even forgotten her beautiful face. In the Ecclesiastes verse, the golden broken bowl, the broken wheel, the broken pitcher, they refer to the bodily death. When I first read that verse, I understood that I had experienced both the silver cord and the cutting of the silver cord, and the importance of remembering my Creator before the cord was cut, which is actually what happened in my near-death experience. I was thinking about God on the ice. The conceptualized and contextualized difference between my near-death experience and my other mystical experiences, well, emphasizes that my body is not my consciousness. I came to understand even more so as I thought about it afterwards that this body is temporary and terminal. There'll be a time when I die for good, resulting in an irreversible separation between this physical body and my soul. Now, the cord's attachment to my body varied in location depending upon the experience. Four times it was, and this might be a new thing for you guys, four times it was in the manas, the chakra on my forehead above the anya, the third eye, pop. As a child, it was in the back of my heart chakra, my anahata. And once it was my guru chakra, the crown above my head during the Kundalini awakening that I had on the side of the road. And this difference of location confirms what other mystics experience. Maybe you've had the silver cord experience. Tell me where you were connected. You see, there's no one single place the silver cord attaches its location to my body or to anybody's body. The location varies, but the experience of attachment corresponds to chakra locations. At least that's what the evidence, the anecdotal evidence is showing. People talk about it. One might say that death is a permanent astral departure. When I was sent back into my body that first time, I re entered my body through my heart chakra, and that the silver cord to my higher self was reknit. It kind of came with me. Now, you may choose to practice astral projection or not. It's up to you, not me. Why don't I? Because the creator knows infinitely more about me and what I need on my spiritual journey than I do. I'm kind of an ignoramus when it comes to that. There are far too many unknowns, maybe almost in an infinite level of unknowns. I don't know what I don't know. But I am given what I need, not what I want. Because I'm not in this for power. I'm in this for surrender. I give up even my will for the desire for my astral projection. Take me if you want to, leave me here if that's your choice. In the meanwhile, I'll continue to pursue you. All of my ancient mystical teachers, all of them, they all agree. All the ones who seek the oneness, they all agree. Seek the giver, not the gifts. I talk about this all the time. Surrender, not power. It's up to you. It's okay either way, because ultimately, unconditional love is unconditional. It's welcoming. So don't be afraid. I have a friend right now who's a new friend who's struggling with this terminality. He's good cancer, tough prognosis. Seek the one now. Remember your creator now, even in your fear. You'll find your way home. Love abandons no one. Thanks for listening. And be careful out there. So today at Mystic Tea Salon, we're going to discuss or at least I'm going to propose that we discuss our out of body experiences and our soul links to our bodies. If you've had such an experience and you want to talk about it, please do. Please jump in the list. And the link is in the show notes below, and we meet at the top of the hour. People from all over the world. Open forum. And join us on Mondays and Wednesdays for our centering prayer practice, which aims to help you ritualize your meditation practice so that it becomes a necessary part of your daily life, because there's so many benefits from it: physiological, emotional, psychological, and spiritual. And on Tuesdays, I teach and practice Kriya Yoga and egoic surrender. And you're welcome to attend live or receive an audio recording weekly. Just subscribe to my email at peterpanagore.love. You'll get an email on Tuesday and you'll learn how to respond. And your gifts of support, your likes and subscriptions, you make this free channel possible. So I thank you very much for those who are sponsoring me to be here through your gifts. You can visit peterpanagore.love. So let's take a look over here for a minute in the chat. Oh, no. Checking my glasses out. See what people have to say. I'll scroll back up a bit. I do. I just got to, oh, that's it. Okay. I experience our outer body feelings during times of prayer. I experience outer body feelings during times of prayer when I'm lying in bed any part of the day. It's wonderful. It's beautiful. Never saw a cord, but I know of a feeling as my wife has sometimes while awake, sometimes asleep, and even sometimes in conversation, always when the frequency of love is present. Recently, I was meditating to fall asleep, but I was pulled out of my body to a completely silent, dark space with distant stars. Wow, that's cool. Hi, Sylvester. So, when you were in that space, what happened next? Had a vivid dream where I left my body and remember returning as a rushing through a tunnel connected by a cord, says Holly. Yeah, like that. I had a free floating out of body unsolicited experience twice. The first time I was 13, and it was such a shock. I've never I had never heard of those experiences. So you don't need to hear about these things in order for them to happen to you because they're real and they just happen to you. It's like suddenly coming across a color that you didn't know exist. There it is. And there it is. You didn't know before, and now you do. Eyes of My Heart with Vicky Jean. Greetings from Michigan. I'm glad you're here today. Uh, I'm glad you're here today. I know that you're saying you're glad you're here today too, but I'm glad you're here today. I can see it reaching upward when I meditate, but it's gossamer thin. Yeah, it can be like a thin silken thread. Skinny as that too. Like I've felt that come in the crown of my head. Let's see what other out of body experiences for me didn't last any more than a few minutes. No silver cord that I noticed. It's great that you're talking about this, though. Increased consciousness level and comfort level. Yeah, trust it. Trust it. Trust it. And if you and try not to grasp at the experience, let it happen to you. That's really what I was getting back to with the question with Sylvester is did as soon as you became aware of being in that space, did you get kicked out? That's usually what happens to me. Love abandons no one. That is for sure. Oh, Holly, I went to sleep with the intention of astral projection, had never tried it, focused all my consciousness on my forehead, and left to explore the bliss of love. I'm glad to hear you had an aim as well there. That's a beautiful thing, Holly. Where would you suggest a new person to start with spirituality? Asks Amanda. Well, come to our Mystic Tea Salon at the top of the hour. We can talk about it there. Um, Always have meditation. That's not just any meditation, but in my humble opinion, meditation that teaches you to be detached. It teaches a person to be detached from their egoic self, because the spirituality at its higher level has really nothing to do with me or you. It's the divine energy itself. Come and visit with us. There are books to read. There are channels like this one. Um, Meditation really matters. Or talk to me. You can book a time with me, and I'd love to talk to you about it and maybe help steer you in a direction that is good for you. Let's see. As it happens, as soon as I realized what happened, I was squeezed back in my body. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Sylvester. Kaplamo. No silver cord. No, you don't need one. There is, and there isn't. It depends on your experience. But as soon as I ever think about myself, become self aware, even when I'm thinking of the space I'm in, involves some level of self awareness. As soon as that happens, I'm out. That's that's what I was asking. That's the answer that I was looking for. Um, Meditation is never a wrong place to start. Yep, that's for sure. Why do you think that some people have never had out of body experiences or profound spiritual awakenings? I feel that I'm awake, but I've never personally experienced meeting a guide. I wish I knew the answer to that, Mary Ann. I do. I'm not sure why it happens the way it does, why some people get the experience and some people don't get the experience. I'll explain it to you the way my teacher explained it to me. Theophane Boyd, this Trappist monk, I was at the monastery. I had this experience. I had a series of experiences that made me dash to the monastery. And one of them was one of these experiences where I popped right out of up here and had this experience where I was like, what the heck? And then I went to the monastery and I'm in this meeting with Theophane Boyd. And he says to me, mystical experiences are given to those who need them. Maybe you don't need one. Maybe I'm the weak person here. That's what he said. Given to the weak. I'm weak, I guess. So you probably won't need one. I mean, if you leave it up to the divine and the divine saying, well, this one needs it, this one doesn't, that one does, this one doesn't, maybe you're the lucky one. Something to think about anyway. I've been thinking about what he said for the whole of my life. Jeez, am I weak? I guess maybe I am. I don't know. I got scared during both of my very brief out of body experiences, which were very convincing. I need to practice more and trust more. Meditation, one of the things about a practice of meditation that has to do with quieting the mind and non attachment is that it actually is the training ground for these experiences so that when you have them, you're less likely to move towards self-awareness or fear. People are pretty afraid when this happens to them the first time. The first time I fell out of my body meditating, I was kind of floated down into my mattress and I was like in my mattress. I was like, what the? And as soon as I became aware of that, I had this little bit of fear and I popped back in. Um, Meditation practice teaches non-attachment, even most especially for rather those kinds of experiences. Gutenberg has the varieties of mystical experience. Gutenberg? Gutenberg, the Bible? I don't understand. That's okay. I don't know everything. That's for sure. Um, Thank you, Marianne. You love that. It resonates. Thank you. Great thought. I think also that life crisis comes to us when we need them. Unfortunately, primary feathers. Yeah, I think so too. And we can either embrace them even when they hurt, or become embittered by them, which I will try not to do myself. I try to embrace them because I usually learn from them 99.9% of the time. You can have a connection to the divine without having dramatic experience. This is totally true. 100%. A friend of mine always has a sense of connection. It's like we're always running in the background that gives her peace. 100% true. You don't need one. There's a fellow who sometimes comes to our Mystic Tea Salon who basically over his lifetime meditated himself into that space that you're talking about there. He always has this peace with him. No dramatic experience. That's the power of this practice of surrender is you don't need a near death experience or a mystical experience. All you really need is the presence, and that can be practiced in such a way as to make it accessible to one. Now, not everybody who practices meditation for their whole lifetime develops that. I don't know why that is. I just know that it is. Um, Mark says, I do not like see this. You don't like to see this. I'm not sure what you're talking about, Mark, there. You seem strong in your spirituality. Me? Yeah, yes, 100%. Um, Near death experience and mystical experiences removed all of my belief and my doubts. And I live in this connected space that I've cultivated. I came back with from my first near death experience with this energy in me, and I've cultivated it through my life. And it's my safe space. Talk about safe spaces. This is the safest space I know. Nothing else here in this world is particularly safe in comparison, and especially in comparison. Nothing in this world is as safe as that. Fell through a yoga mat first time I tried meditation. No clue what that was. It was great, which I wanted to repeat going in with desire, wants, goals ever since, and nada, nope, nothing again. Yeah, Ken, that's the way it works. You grasp at those goals, and they're like, nah, 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 nah. But if you have non-attachment, then it's more likely that it's going to happen. It also makes you more sensitive to it. Thanks, Marianne, for the super chat there. Appreciate the gift. Yeah, it's funny that it works that way. It's the same idea that the last thing that you give up when you want Satori is your desire for Satori, but you have to have the desire for Satori in order to get to the place where you give it up. Thomas Merton said something like that too. You got to have a strong ego before you can give it up. Got to have an ego to have before you can lose your ego. Mystical experience happen because it is time. God works in mysterious ways, and it's because we need them or at the time to be enlightened, um, self encased with within this realm is lack of enlightenment. Yeah, selfishness is lack of enlightenment. All right, we only have about 5 minutes. I'll see you at the top of the hour. Mystic Tea Salon, open forum. The link is in the show notes. Uh, Peace to all of you. Blessings be with you. See you soon. Thanks for being here. Oh, and thanks for watching this recorded live, recorded or live. Oh, well. Peace, everybody.